Welcome to Peers, political economic elemental researchers and strategists. At Peers, we stand as your all-in-one partner, adept at steering you through the intricate realms of politics, economics, and business. Join us at Peers, where our seasoned team with expertise in politics, economy, business, and law is committed to your success. Together, we will navigate the future, making informed decisions that lead to lasting impacts. Follow us on Facebook, X, and LinkedIn to stay informed about how we can help you achieve your goals.
Previously on Episode 11, Managing the Waters, the political and legal exigencies of the WPS.
First of all, napakahalaga ang desisyon nung The Hague, actually sa Permanent Court of Arbitration, na bahagi na rin ako ngayon. I just was appointed member last January of the Permanent Court of Arbitration. Kasi nag-provide siya ng baseline ng ano bang mga karapatan under international law ng Pilipinas, ng China. Halimbawa, doon pinag-usapan ang claims ng China, historical claims. At sinabi ng Permanent Court of Arbitration, ng tribunal or arbitration tribunal na walang kabatayan yung kanilang dash line, both historically and legally speaking. Although the case was not about ownership, but about yung tinatawag na rights under UNCLOS, United Nations Convention of the Sea, over the disputed area, the West Philippine Sea, which is an exclusive economic zone ng Pilipinas. Natiyak din natin na tayo ang may karapatan, may exclusive rights sa area na yon. So baseline lang yon, di ba? Hindi yan sa batas. Pag nakapanalo ka ng kaso, starting point yan, hindi yan end point. Kailangan natin end point yan eh. Kasi siyempre natin i-implement, di ba? Now, bakit tayo nahihirapan mag-implement? Bakit yung issue pa rin? Kasi China is a much more powerful country than us. Tayo din, we are not, di ba? We have already renounced war as an instrument of national policy. Sabi na natin yan sa constitution natin. So kahit na powerful tayo, we will not do things against international law.
Ano ang nangyayari sa ground? Noon bang nag-file tayo ng case sa arbitral tribunal, Admiral? Ano bang natatandaan ninyo? Ito ba ang hudyat o matagal nang mainit ang sitwasyon sa disputed waters natin? O sa inyong experience, nagsimula talaga itong mainit na sitwasyon na ito? Noon lamang nag-file tayo ng kaso sa arbitral tribunal. At ano sa tingin mo yung naging epekto nito on the ground? Admiral?
Say exactly kung kailan talaga nag-umpisa uminit ang sitwasyon sa mga disputed areas. But for my personal knowledge and observation, and this is not reflective of my organization. Back in 2017, we adopted Coast Guard diplomacy, and the Philippine Coast Guard and the China Coast Guard had a bilateral agreement then in order to maintain peace, harmony, and good relationships between the two Coast Guard as well as our countries as well. But priorities of leadership changed. So siguro this was not pushed forward when there were changes of administration both in the Coast Guard and both in the national leadership. So, but as far as I'm concerned, this started way back, but was really exposed lately lang when our esteemed president assumed power, because the information was shared publicly before. Hindi kasi ito openly ino-open sa public, so walang live streaming o ano nangyayari on site. That change na it was open to the media could go there, take photos, take videos, and in fact may mga live footages on what is happening really on the ground. Kaya the world, not only the Philippines, became aware of this kind of situation.
If we have lost time and opportunity to push for our rights as a nation in claiming our victory in the disputed WPS, as you've mentioned, the frame has to be changed. what strategies our government can take advantage of to recover what we have missed. If I suppose, no, if the assumption is we can still recover from that lost time. Are there now new players or theaters that were not present before and which we can use to our advantage?
No, well, nasabi na naman din ito ng government, di ba? Hinihintay lang natin yung next move nila. Ang pag-intindi ko, we're going to file a case in a forum. Hindi ko pa alam. At yung alam ko, hindi ko nasasabihin. Kasi di pa na-file, di ba? Nabanggit na naman yan, so I can say it. An environmental case. Yun ang area na hindi natin na-develop pa ng mabuti. Na siguradong panalo tayo. I am an environmental lawyer. I'm an international environmental law expert lang, yun ang buhay ko professionally, no? And I can say with all certainty, di ba? Na China has breached its international obligations to protect the environment, to protect the marine environment.
To all our friends, viewers, followers, fellow movers for real democracy and development, Filipinos here and abroad. Mapia Kapipita, Saba Al-Kair, Naimbaga Bigat, Maayong Buntag, Marhay na Aga, Mayapayabak, Maupay nga Aga, Maayong Aga, Magandang Umaga, Good morning. You know, here at Pierce, as we have always explained to everyone and expressed our advocacies and our focus on truth in information, we are featuring no less than our only regional government in the country, the Bangsamoro Autonomous Region for Muslim Mindanao. You know, sa totoo lang, halos hindi po napag-uusapan, kakaunti ang nakakaalam. Subalit kung tutuusin, napakalaking bagay nito para sa buong Pilipinas. And to be honest with you, I am so honored to be able to invite and have with us no less than the first Speaker of Parliament. Yes, you heard it right. Parliament. We have a parliament in BARM. And for so many years, you know, as I've always told you, I've been campaigning and I've been involved in political reforms. BARM is, you know, the very model of political reform, because it, as a region, no, the leaders of BARM knew from the start that you know, an executive driven, no, or a presidential form of regional government is something that might be best for the other parts of the country, for the Philippines in fact, but in BARM as a region, a parliamentary or ministerial form of government is best. And you know, they have no less than the most senior and the most respected leader as speaker. So bear with me when I introduce him. No, the Honorable Pangalian Balindong is our guest, no less. He is a renowned Maranao political leader and has championed, no, the cause of the Bangsamoro his whole life. You know, I'm so proud to have worked with him in the consultative committee. And, you know, I call him the revolutionary Democrat because having learned of his preparations and his accomplished political career and the professional development really has, you know, set the bar high for political leaders. He was a member of the 1971 Constitutional Convention and also the 2018 Consultative Committee to review the 1987 Constitution. Doon po kami nagkita ni Speaker Balindong. He served as Speaker of the ARMM, Regional Legislative Assembly, and Deputy Speaker of the Philippine House of Representatives. He authored landmark legislations in the region and in the national legislature, especially including the creation of BARM itself. Before all this notable work, no, he's not like many other leaders because he studied law in the MLQU. In fact, I'm already anticipating an award toward this end and passed the bar. Right after the graduation, no, he took the bar exams and passed. No, just one single take for the bar exam. A member of the Mu Kappa Phi Exclusive Law Fraternity, a delegate to the 1973 International Muslim Youth Conference in Tripoli, member of the consultative legal panel of the Moro National Liberation Front during the RP-MNLF peace talks in Tripoli in 1977, and delegate to the World Assembly of the World Muslim Congress in Karachi, Pakistan in 1998. You know, it goes without saying that there is a very clear reason why I thought perhaps we should hear no less from the speaker himself as far as BARM is concerned. You know, as I've mentioned, ang dami ng information everywhere, ang dami na nating napapanood na blog, ang daming mga talk shows and everything, but not one has been, scheduled, or not one has been intended mainly for many people, many Filipinos, every Filipino to understand what BARM is. You know, it's important to understand BARM because there's so much expectations from BARM. And these expectations, instead of helping them, criticism pa po yung nadidinig natin sa BARM. Hindi nila naintindihan kung anong pinagdaanan ng BARM. O ba, sa totoo lang po, no? Nung nagsimula ang BARM noong 2019, minana nito yung budget ng ARMM, which is of course part of the whole legislative process nationally, no? But that is crucial because BARM is not BARM as an entity in 2019 was also tasked not only to govern, not only to run the regional government, but also to transition to a new regional government. You see, if you are going to read the Bangsamoro Organic Law, you will understand how different, no, BARM is compared to ARMM, not only in terms of political structure, but also in terms of power. And so napakalaking trabaho nung reorganization. Pero nung 2019, dahil ang budget ay minana lamang sa ARMM, talagang kung tutusin, nandun yung challenge ng reorganization. And then 2020 happened, and you know already what that means. Pandemic happened. No? But I'm sure, of course, you will find out as we discuss more along this morning program, that you will find out how BARM has managed to navigate all these challenges. And we will hear no less from the revered leader of BARM Parliament, Speaker Balindong. So, let me now also say, no, the last part of the introduction is BARM is the only meso level, the mid-level government, the only regional government that we have in the country. In fact, it is the very model for our people, no, to understand the federal form of government. Hindi po siya local government. Napakalaking bagay po noon na pag-uusapan natin, lalo na sa relasyon sa national government. And this is what we'd like to understand, no, from our revered guest, Speaker Balindong. Speaker, magandang umaga po. Kamusta po kayo?
Magandang umaga din. Good morning. And first of all, I would like to uh, greet you and your listeners. Assalamu alaikum. May the peace and blessings of God be upon us all.
I understand, Speaker, na kayo po ay nagbabakasyon. Pasalamat po kami sa at sa pahinga ninyo nabigyan nyo kami ng pagkakataon na pag-usapan itong BARM kasi katulad ng nabanggit ko sa introduction, hanggang ngayon alam na alam ninyo yan tuwing tayo'y magkakamustahan palaging may challenge sa BARM. So, ano po ba itong mga challenges na to, Speaker, para malaman lang ng ating mga kababayan para hindi parang puro criticism na lang yung naririnig natin?
Yeah, Professor Ed, I'd like to start very briefly on what is BARM and how is it doing? How did we start?
Yeah.
And how is it different from the local government that we know it today? We started the BARM. When we started the BARM, it was you can call it shaky because of the so many challenges that we faced. For example, we inherited from the defunct arm so many problems that they failed to address. And then, as you mentioned, some of the challenges are organizing the bureaucracy. That is an awesome task because if we consider the composition of the 80 members of Bangsamoro Transition Authority, we do not have the necessary expertise to start with. We had to develop some capacity building measures that will help us perform our job. And then also you made mention about the pandemic. And let me also add that it is a challenge on our part that until now, there's still that question of constitutionality of the Bangsamoro organic law. It's shall we say, sort of Damocles hanging over the head of the bar. These are the challenges. So, for information of our people and their education, the Bangsamoro Autonomous Region and Muslim Mindanao is an autonomous political entity within the Philippines, established to provide a greater degree of self-governance to the predominantly Muslim population in Mindanao. As far as the origin is concerned, people in are aware that since the beginning, the quest for autonomy in Mindanao has deep roots, tracing back to historical grievances and the Moro people's struggle for self-determination. The Moro conflict, a protracted struggle involving various Muslim groups in Mindanao, sought greater autonomy and even independence. So the basis of the negotiations between the Philippine government and the more Islamic Liberation Front uh, came out with two agreements, which was the basis of the BOL, which was enacted by Congress.
Yeah.
And that is the 2022 framework agreement on the Bangsamoro and the 2014 comprehensive agreement on the Bangsamoro. So the basis of all this is the Bangsamoro Organic Law, or BOL, which was ratified in 2019.
Uh-huh.
It formally created the
11
BARM,
p 11 a.m.
and this law replaced the autonomous region in Muslim Mindanao with a more empowered and autonomous entity.
Mhm.
Now, included in the initial challenges are the problem of organizing a new government, and that is the BARM. We had to make some adjustments, including the transfer of powers, the resources,
Uh-huh.
and personnel.
Yeah.
And that created a problem because the former employees of the BARM had the institutional memory, who had been there for a long
Yes.
time.
Yes.
And
Yes.
suddenly they're replaced. So these are some of the challenges. And then we have to integrate the different groups in the BARM.
Tama kaya?
Mm.
We have to build trust and cooperation between former adversaries and various political factions.
Mhm.
These are essential for a stable government. So you also mentioned about how different is it from the
The political structure. Yeah.
typical local government that we, as we know it today.
Uh-huh.
First
Uh-huh.
of all, as far as the degree of autonomy is concerned, BARM enjoys a higher degree of executive, legislative, and financial autonomy compared to the local government units as we know it now in the Philippines. It has its own chief minister elected by members of the parliament.
Yeah.
We also have a wali,
Uh-huh.
a ceremonial head of the Bangsamoro Autonomous Region. And of course, these are the executive powers as far as legislation is concerned. As you mentioned it, we have a speaker, I'm not the speaker, and we are empowered to create laws, and that will be tailored to the needs of the Bangsamoro,
Uh-huh.
and provided it is not in conflict with the Philippine Constitution. So the region has greater autonomy or control over natural resources, revenue sharing, including, of course, the grant from the national government. Then we have fiscal autonomy compared to the local government units that we know today. So the BAM is governed by a parliamentary system, unlike other LGUs, which follow the presidential system of national government.
Exactly.
The region, yeah, as I mentioned, as the chief minister, and the BAM is also mandated to protect and promote the cultural heritage, the political, historical, economic, cultural, and social concerns of the Bangsamoro. These are the things that makes it different from the present local government.
Mhm.
And there is actually, this is real autonomy. As far as supervision is concerned, from the national government, it is the president has only supervision over the local government. May control pa yan.
Yeah.
May
Yeah.
supervision and control before the creation of the bar. Yun lang, that makes it different from the local government units that we exist today.
You know, Speaker, I had to emphasize that part, and it's good that we heard it straight from you, no less. No, what BARM is and how it is different from local governments. Because, you know, up to now, which is quite really a challenge. No, it is frustrating to even you know, still encounter people who barely understand what BARM is. If you remember, at one time we were conversing about the chief minister's visit to Turkey, and that it you know, elicited so much reaction from some of our national leaders. Eh, kung tutuusin, magtataka ka pa kung bakit sasabihin na walang coordination sa national government, hindi naman makakapunta ang chief minister sa Turkey na hindi nalalaman ng Department of Foreign Affairs. Kasi paano siya pupunta doon at paano siya aasikasuhin ng ating embahada sa Turkey kung hindi nag-coordinate. At ang pagpunta naman ng chief minister sa Turkey, hindi naman para mag-establish ng diplomatic office o maggumawa ng bagong foreign relations policy. No, pumunta naman ng chief minister doon to establish more of economic and cultural relations with Turkey, which is very much part of the autonomous power given to BARM. Let me also emphasize to our viewers and our followers that, you know, as far as I can remember, no one has heard of many good places in BARM. No, alam mo, pagka tiningnan po ninyo yung Lake Lanao, for example, no, nako, marami ka nang makikitang maganda doon. Yung ano yung lake ninyo doon, Speaker? Lake Davao. Davao ba 'yon? It's also a place that yeah, we would like to visit that in Lake Davao, yeah. And if we go to the island provinces like Basilan, Sulu, and Tawi-Tawi, you know, if you've been to Boracay and you're inclined to think that Boracay has the best beaches, nako, hindi nyo pa nakita ang area na niyan, no? So, bakit natin napag-uusapan itong mga bagay na ito when, you know, so many years back, no? It seems that Mindanao is something that is beyond beyond the imagination of ordinary Filipinos. Kasi pagka naisip nila Mindanao, naku, hindi na maganda, no, magulo, and so on and so forth. So, I'm inclined to think, Speaker, na malayo na ang inabot ng BARM, no? There are accomplishments that perhaps our countrymen, our fellow Filipinos would like to understand and would like to know. Can you highlight some of these accomplishments, Speaker, so at least many of us will understand more?
Yes, thank you, Ed. You know, it all depends on I think there is an urgent need, especially at this time that we are building, a united Philippines, one united Philippines. It is time to understand that the cause of the Bangsamoro is not only for the Bangsamoro. It
Yes.
is for the whole country.
Definitely,
Uh,
definitely.
yeah, we had been struggling for so many years. Starting from the colonizers, then we want to enjoy autonomy or self-government because of our different political, historical, economic, cultural, etc., etc. And this is not about secession.
Mhm, mhm.
As a matter of fact, with the Hungaric law was to the Bangsamoro. We concentrated on the mandate that will promote unity, and these are some of the legislation that I will mention to you now. And this is all for the entire country. So uh, the BARM has been doing well. Uh, it has made significant progress since its establishment in 2019. The BARM has been working towards stabilizing and developing the region, which has historically been marked by conflict and underdevelopment. Uh, the BARM is currently in a transition period. Transition period, let me emphasize. Set to end in 2025. The spirit in the creation of laws, creation of institutions, processes necessary for a fully functioning autonomous government. So the Bangsamoro Transition Authority has also prioritized the passage of laws that we are mandated to enact to form the institutional framework of BARM for uh, and these are some of the key legislative accomplishments. We approved the administrative code, the Bangsamoro Education Code. We have the Bangsamoro Civil Service Code. We have the Bangsamoro Electoral Code and the Bangsamoro Local Government Code. Only two priority bills are left unapproved, and we in the last 10 months that we are still in the transition period, we have already agreed among the officers and members of the parliament that we will approve these two bills, and that is the Indigenous Peoples Bill and also a very important bill, that is the Revenue Code. We hope to approve this. And these are not the only priority bills. We have approved more than 50 bills, not to include resolutions that is geared towards the cause, the progress, and the peace in the Bangsamoro. So these are our accomplishments. The BARM has seen significant improvements in peace and security, especially in regions plagued by conflict and local terrorism, such as the island provinces and even in central Mindanao. These areas are now experiencing increased tourism and economic activity. The
Exactly.
regional government's efforts combined with the government of the Philippines and the Moro Islamic Liberation Front. These agreements have contributed to these improvements. And thanks to the government of the Philippines that we have a Bangsamoro Transition Authority that is very inclusive,
Aha,
that contributed to the early passage of the legislation that we are mandated to enact. And the inclusive because the Moro Islamic Liberation Front which is a party or signatory to the agreement is there. They have
aha.
41 members. They
Yes, yes.
recommended 41 members. 39 of these are eminently Sema faction, Miswari faction, and other groups. Even traditional leaders are there.
Hmm.
And we were, during the enactment of these legislations, we tried to impress upon the members. And we succeeded that we should forget that we are Emile, MILA,
Yeah.
we are from Basilan, from Sulu. So yan ang mga developments ito as far as peace and security is concerned sa Mindanao area. People, even foreigners, Tawi-Tawi, Sulu, in
Yeah.
other areas, in Central Mindanao, trying to promote terrorism, tourism, sorry, tourism. That's yung sabi mo na Boracay is
Ah,
not comparable to this area. Mas
ang layo.
maganda ito.
Ang layo.
Oo,
Hmm.
sa economic activity.
Hmm.
When you see a chief minister traveling all over the Mindanao Island, the Bar area, going to Tawi-Tawi and other areas, si Haji Murar lang. So, yan ang masakit lang is I have yet to find a national leader be it in the House of Representatives, the Congress, who is involved in questioning the legality of the Bangsamoro Organic Law.
Nako, yan ang sword of
Yeah.
Damocles ng BARMS.
Kami lang, sa sort of Damocles, and it is ironic, very unfortunate na kami lang ang nag-question yan. But I hope Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will guide our leaders. And because imagine, it's not to say hypocrisy to be against the law. And all of a sudden, until now, yung election na 2025, na lahat, everybody wants to be chief minister. Everybody wants to be there. So, is there anything wrong with the Bangsamoro Authority? That's why I've been calling our people to help make this autonomy grow, nourish it, and make it succeed, not only for the Bangsamoro, but for the entire country. These are the accomplishments that we can be proud of, and I can say now that the recent government of the BARM under the leadership of the Honorable Chief Minister Ahud Balawag Ibrahim has gained the confidence, the trust and confidence of the Bangsamoro people.
You know, Speaker, it's good that you emphasize that, no? Kasi alam nyo, especially for us here in Manila, we've always had a different idea of what Mindanao is. Parang ibang-iba sa buong Pilipinas, no? At hindi parang kulang ang kaalaman pagdating sa Mindanao. In fact, ang dami nating mga live questions ngayon, Speaker, katulad ng investment promotion and so on. Nabanggit na ninyo yung mga legislation na naipasa ng Parliament. Pero ang gusto ko lang i-emphasize dito, pag kayo po ay nagpunta mismo sa BARM, nagpunta kayo ng Cotabato, nagpunta kayo ng Maguindanao, no? Nagpunta kayo ng island provinces, nagpunta kayo ng Lanao Sur, makikita ninyo ang economic activity ngayon, no? The investment, the outpouring of investment in the region has been quite considerable. And also, if I may also add to what the speaker mentioned, dapat balikan natin yung kasaysayan natin, yung history natin. Alam niyo kaya malaking bagay din nakilala ko ito si speaker at binanggit ko nga na revolutionary democrat ang tawag ko kasi nagkaroon ako ng pagkakataon na makita ang kasaysayan ng Pilipinas bago pa dumating ang mga colonial powers. Did you know that the population of the Philippines, yung pag-populate ng Pilipinas, dahil tayo ay mga islands, no? Archipelago tayo, hiwa-hiwalay. Hindi naman nagsimula sa norte pababayan eh. Nagsimula yan sa south paakyat. Merong mga settlers na nasa norte, pero karamihan talaga ng naging population na ng Pilipinas dahil halos lahat naman tayo dito ay mga immigrants kung tutuusin, no? Ang mga indigenous talaga na talagang nakatira sa Philippine Islands ay yung ating mga kapwa Pilipinong indigenous peoples, no? Na kung tutuusin sila yung na-displace. But you know, the reason why I'm emphasizing that is we should have already transcended this prejudice and this discrimination. Kasi kapag may accomplishment sa Mindanao, sa BARM, alam po ninyo, malaking bagay ito sa buong Pilipinas. At hindi lang sa tourism, kung hindi pati sa production. Ang nakakalungkot na nabanggit nga ni Speaker, alam po ninyo doon sa region, mas maganda sana kung meron mang mga political differences, it would be best to limit it to the region itself. But when projection at the national level is done, there should be a united front. Hindi kasi alam po ninyo yung mga national leaders na nasa interest nila na hindi mag-succeed ang BARM, gagamitin yung division, no, within the region, no, to use against the success of BARM. At ito nga po yung nabanggit ni Speaker na pending case sa Supreme Court, no? Alam mo, Speaker, kaya ang tawag ko dito sword of Damocles nako, dapat yan ma-settle na kaagad, no? At ma-resolve. But I'm inclined to think, Speaker, that only an amendment of the Constitution can really put to rest, no, these constitutional issues. And siguro isegoy ko na din doon sa 2025 election, Speaker. Can you help explain, no, how crucial is the 2025 election? Bakit may mga nagsusulong pa ng extension ng transition, Speaker, no? Siguro mas magandang maintindihan ng bawat Pilipino anong significance kung mai-extend ito at anong significance kung matutuloy naman ang halalan sa 2025. Kasi kapag nagkaroon ng halalan malaking bagay ito, no? Sa pagkakaintindi ko kasama sa transition plan itong 2025 election, Speaker, tama ba? So ano ang implication kapag hindi ito natuloy?
Thank you, Ed. As to the coming elections, there are still groups, especially among the youth sector, that they want, they are in favor of election this time. But as far as the 2025 election is concerned, that is already fait accomplished. the there is a law already calling for election is 2025, and I don't expect any dramatic change in the law. Election will proceed. Uh, uh, Let me say that the upcoming midterm elections in the Bangsamoro Autonomous Region are indeed very significant, very significant. That will mark a historic milestone, not only for BARM, but also for the Philippines as a whole. It will be the first regular parliament elections in the BARM since its establishment. This change reflects efforts to provide more autonomy and self-governance to the Bangsamoro people, addressing long-standing issues of marginalization and political representation. When I say political representation, let me remind our people na kailangan din ng mga Bangsamoro because as of now, under the presidential form of government, we are not represented in the Senate, practically not represented in the Senate. Kasi unless you ride on the popularity of an incumbent president, wala kang magiging senador na.
Definitely.
History, the midterm elections will be crucial in shaping the future direction of BARM. As voters will have the opportunity to choose their representative who will serve in the parliament. These representatives will play a vital role in policy making, governance, and the overall development of the BARM. There are also pros and cons of proceeding with BARM elections, sinabi mo.
Yeah.
And maybe they are thinking of first democratic legitimacy. Holding elections allows for the expression of popular will and the selection of leaders through democratic process. It provides an opportunity for the people of BAM to elect their representatives who will serve their interests in the Bangsamoro Parliament or other governing bodies. This is essential for ensuring democratic governance and accountability. By participating in elections, the BARM government gains legitimacy as elected representatives instead of appointed, seen as more accountable to the people. This can contribute to political stability and confidence in the region's governance structure. A smooth transition of power through elections can help maintain stability and continuity in government. Elected officials are accountable to the people, which can help ensure better governance and responsiveness to the needs of constituents. There are also cons of proceeding with BARM election. Ito ang minaano ng youth sector. When I was in Cotabato, mayroong demonstration doon from these young people.
Yeah.
They are kontra sila, mayroon ding pro disruption of the ongoing reforms BARM is still in the transition period, and holding elections might disrupt ongoing efforts to establish governance structure and implement peace agreement. Elections can sometimes exacerbate tension. Palagi nangyari yan,
Aha.
particularly in regions with complex ethnic
Aha.
or religious dynamics,
Yeah.
risking a return to violence. BARM's institutions might not yet be fully equipped to handle elections effectively, potentially leading to logistical challenges and administrative problems. Now, there are pros of extending the transition period. Ito ang pro.
Mhm.
Stability, referring to the extension, stability and consolidation. Extending the transition period could provide more time for the consolidation of peace and governance structure, reducing the risk of instability. Reforms and capacity building. Additional time could allow for further reforms and capacity building within BARM institutions, strengthening their ability to govern effectively. Consultation and inclusivity. Extending the transition period could provide an opportunity for further consultation with stakeholders and ensuring inclusivity in the peace process. Wala na yan kasi malapit na. Malapit na eleksyon eh.
Yeah.
So there are also cons. May mga kontra din dyan of extending the transition period.
Yeah.
Delay in democratic representation. Extending the transition period without election could delay the establishment of democratic representation and accountability within BARM.
Mhm.
That
Mhm.
is one disadvantage. Then the legitimacy concern.
Yes, yes.
Extended transition periods might raise concern about the legitimacy of the interim government and its decision, particularly if there is a perception of undemocratic rule.
Yes, yes, yes.
Now, we have also international commitments. Extended transition periods could potentially conflict with international agreements or commitments made as part of the peace process. Ultimately, the decision to proceed with BARM election or extend the transition period should carefully weigh these factors while considering the overall goal of achieving lasting peace and stability in the region. Yun ang pros and cons of
Mhm.
extending the transition and proceeding with election.
Ang hirap palang pagdesisyonan yan, Speaker.
Ang hirap.
Nako. Anyway, for a while I thought I was already convinced that the elections should proceed because as you've already mentioned, well, the idea of legitimacy is really an important consideration. On the other hand, other issues should be weighed in making this a very crucial decision. At the end of the day, Speaker, talagang para sa akin, correct me if I'm wrong, nakasalalay talaga ito doon sa pagkakasama-sama ng mga iba-ibang political groups sa BARM, sa Mindanao, para matuloy kung matuloy man yung eleksyon, maging successful, at hindi magkaroon ng gulo. Kasi kapag kahit naman i-extend mo, Speaker, yung transition, kung magkakaroon ng gulo at maraming kumbaga maraming manggugulo kasi tingnan nga ninyo mga kababayan, no, tingnan na lang ninyo hanggang ngayon meron pa ding nagke-question ng constitutionality ng BARM. Yun ang napaka-importanting consideration. You know, at the end of the day, whatever happens with BARM is not limited to BARM. Whatever happens to will affect the whole country. And it is not very easy, no, to make sense of another hopefully knocking on wood, hopefully this time, no, a real autonomy becomes successful in Bangsamoro or in Mindanao. Before we close, Speaker, no, I'd like to emphasize some of the accomplishments you've mentioned. No, if I may just flash to you, show to you the key legislations passed by BARM, just to at least give you the impression that what we know or what we have assumed as limitations, or should we say biases of BARM as a Muslim region is corrected, because some of us have the idea that politics and governance in the region is entirely different from our national politics. So let's look at this table of legislations quite quickly. No, this is I've used this table in the biography of our guest, no, the Revolutionary Democrat. Again, this is showing to you, no, what has been accomplished, no, by BARM. Can we look at the table now? Okay. If we look at the table now, you will see that you will see the different acts, no, different legislations passed by the BARM Parliament. You will see that there are so many of these legislations. What is clearly shown, no, is this there are no such biases as far as BARM legislations are concerned. If you look at, there's an act creating the Bangsamoro Sports Commission. There is also an act creating the establishment of commission for women, no. It has always been thought that women issues have not been given priority in BARM, no, but this perhaps can correct your impression, no. There's a Bangsamoro Women Commission of BARM, no. So there's even a Bangsamoro Attorney General's office, no. There's also a Bangsamoro Human Rights Commission, no. So these are all key legislations passed by BARM, again despite the many challenges. We will have this available in the peers page, so that you can have an idea really, no, what has really been accomplished in BARM. So before we thank our esteemed guests, perhaps we can hear, no, a bit of message, no, to from Speaker. Speaker, perhaps you can give some parting words to our friends and our viewers.
Thank you, Professor Ed. Tungkol sa eleksyon na yan, don't worry, you do not have to campaign for me. Because You know, I have always quoted MacArthur, the deepening shadows of life cast doubt upon my ability to place again. I shall return. So, hindi na, I am not running. I am running away from politics. But of course, I will not run away from the court of the Bangsamoro. Thank you, Ed, for inviting me to this program. I hope this will not be the last.
Definitely.
And please tell your peers that we, Ibang Samoro, need their help by way of disseminating this information, correcting what we have been fighting for, the historical injustices committed against the Bangsamoro. Because if you are good Filipinos, we also claim to be good Filipinos. We defended this country. What's wrong with the Muslims? We are not seceding from this country. That is only an unwanted or unfortunate option that will not happen. Kami naman sa BTA Parliament and the BTA government, as long as we have accomplished our task to pave the way for the regular Parliament, okay na sa amin yan. We will not stay there forever. So that is, dapat yan ang isipin ng mga kababayan natin, especially the Bangsamoro, because this is all for them, not only for them, but for the entire country. Thank you very much, Ed. Assalamualaikum to our listener and to everybody. Thank you.
Alaikum salam, Speaker. And, to all our viewers, let me emphasize with you, when we were in CONCOM, every one of us voted for the provision establishing, a very clear provision on anti-political dynasty. And no less than Speaker Balindong, as a member of the CONCOM then, voted emphatically, I have to say, as far as that provision is concerned. And did you know, ladies and gentlemen, did you know, my fellow Filipinos, that no less than the Electoral Code of BARM has that provision? So if you think that, we lack progressive leaders at the national level, you might want to look at the leaders that BARM has. And interestingly, we have always been saying that we need reforms, we need changes, we need to do real things to further development. But nonetheless, our biases and our prejudice still remains paramount. Siguro kung maiintindihan po nating mas mabuti at titingnan nating mabuti kung paano tumatakbo ang gobyerno sa BARM, doon natin makikita na, posible pala itong mga ganitong klasing panukala, itong mga ganitong klasing pulisiya, itong mga klasing programa sa Pilipinas. Pag nangyari po yon, mas magkakaintindihan tayo at mas malayo ang ating mararating. Muli, magandang umaga po sa inyong lahat. Salamat sa panunood at sa pakikinig. Muli, salamat sa kapitapitagan at talagang nire-respeto nating leader sa BARM, Speaker Balindong. Salamat po at magandang umaga.
Wonderful.